Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Money Codes. This is Joel here to give you today's Money Code fix. Guys, on today's episode, I'm about to drop a hour-long podcast with my good friend Tanya. For all of my day one OGs out there, you probably remember her from a video that we did back, I think, in 2021. So that's going to lead me into some changes, right? We're going to do a little bit of house cleaning. I want to tell you guys what to expect going forward as we continue to drop content on the Money Codes YouTube channel. So Monday through Thursday, going forward, starting basically at the time you see this video, Monday through Thursday, we're going to be dropping tons of content for you guys, content that you're already a little bit accustomed to from this channel. We're just going to be turning up the volume a little bit more. So you're going to get more of what you've been accustomed to seeing. So that's going to be product reviews, credit builder, fintech companies specifically, and this is what I'm going to be kind of priding myself on going forward. But now we're going to start really digging into these banks and credit unions. There's a lot of changes that's been going on. So a lot of the fundamentals that we've been talking about for the last couple of years, a lot of these things still work. But unless you've been under a rock, you've seen the changes in the economy. We are literally seeing changes in real time. What banks are asking for, how banks are starting to constrict their lending guidelines. There are a lot of changes that are happening right now, and it's happening pretty quickly, right? So I can't go back and do content like how I used to do, which I'm giving maybe a 15-minute video once a week or every other week. I've got to turn it up a little bit more so you guys can get plugged in and stay on top of what's really happening in the economy and how that's going to affect your credit card and your balances. So because of all the changes and because how quickly things are changing, Monday through Thursday, guys, make sure you are liking, subscribing, make sure you hit the bell notification. We're really going to turn it up. Guys, I got you. This is where you need to be plugged in. And on Friday, I'm going to do a long form. Basically, you can look at it as like a podcast, right? This is basically a podcast. And on the podcast, we're going to touch on current events. We're going to be giving you our real life opinion on what we're seeing on Instagram, TikTok, Clubhouse, YouTube, what other content creators are trying to pass off as financial literacy. We're really going to expose things that just aren't right in our industry, right? So that's pretty much it. That is the gist. I'm going to make this very simple. Again, Monday through Thursday, short form content. We're cranking it up. We're 10xing it. Above my head, you're going to see probably about 5 topics. That's what we're going to cover on today's podcast. I'm not going to talk anymore. Let's jump into the podcast. Hopefully you enjoy. Again, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Now let's jump into today's podcast. Peace. Let the people know what you've been up to, right? What do you have your hands on right now? Why are you on this channel? Like, give the people a little bit of who you are.
Okay, so my background, I've been doing credit for years, starting with my own credit. I had bad credit, went with one of the larger, I won't name them, credit uh, repair companies, but it was a slow, drawn out process. And I was almost 2 years in and almost $2,000 and minimal results. And so I said, okay, let me kind of figure out how to speed this up because I really needed to get more done than what they were accomplishing. So that was my credit repair journey. And then, like a lot of people, once my credit got repaired, I damaged it again. I just, we don't grow up learning education on credit repair. So I didn't know that you're not supposed to just go out there and get a bunch of credit cards and max them out. I had no idea about utilization. So before I knew it, I was right back in the same place. My credit scores tanked, and then I lost my job, and then I couldn't pay the credit card. So it was a spiraling circle. So that's where my credit repair journey began, and that led to me being a credit repair consultant with my own company, 720 FICO Club. But besides the credit repair, I have a background in sales and marketing. So I'm out here educating people on products. That's been what I've done for a long time, educating people on products, providing facts, and helping people to make the best informed decisions for themselves. And so
Right.
that's just, I think, where I'm naturally drawn to credit repair, my own personal experience, and then just life and career experiences. So
Yeah. Yeah, and guys, if you're not aware, like behind the scenes, Tanya and I are like, we double team. Like if I have a client that comes in and there's like maybe something I haven't seen before or just something that's just crazy, or if she has a client that emails her and we're looking at the credit profile, like what the hell is this? Like what's going on? So behind the scenes, like Tanya has been like my partner in crime when it comes to just figuring out everything from what FCRA, consumer law, the best way to dispute, CFPB, the best credit products, right? Behind the scenes, we've been doing a lot of damage, but I think it's time for us to be like on camera so they can hear a lot of this, right?
Yes, because I get
So
asked a lot about business credit, and that's not my
yeah,
forte. So they go right over to money codes because he's the expert. I mean, he knows all the funding plays, the data points. I mean, I got it. Whew, there's a lot that the gurus out there won't tell you, and they may not know themselves. But
yeah, 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 yeah.
money codes will get you straight with the whole business setup, business credit, funding plays, credit card stacking,
Right.
and looking at your personal credit to make sure that it's structured properly because it really all does begin with the personal credit profile. And regardless
Right.
of what the gurus say out there, it does begin with the personal credit profile.
Yeah, it's going
So
to
that,
start there. It's going to start there definitely. So now you said a couple things that is like a perfect segue for me. You messed with a credit repair company. We're not going to say the name, right? Because they're going to demonetize us and shut down the channel if we say it. But they stretched it out for 2 years. So basically, what I'm going to do, guys, a quick recap. I want to touch on 5 topics, right? We have vantage points from real estate brokerage. We have a vantage point from certified credit specialists. We both owned our own credit repair agencies. Like, I think we have a good idea of a lot of what everyone is kind of struggling with. You touched on, the credit funding. Me personally, I love that subject. I love funding. I love data points. I like figuring out what the banks are up to. I like figuring out what FICO's up to. But the thing is, we can't really touch on those type of topics if we don't get like the initial fundamentals, the initial like foundational groundwork. We've got to have something that we can actually pour into you guys, so when you walk away from the YouTube channel, you can be like, all right, well, I got more than just one play. Actually have something I can actually build on. So let me start off first because I know we want to keep this as short as possible. So number one, guys, it's so expensive to not understand what's going on with your credit profile. You're looking to improve your credit. You don't want to do it yourself, so you hire somebody off of Instagram. And I've noticed this, and you chime in too. Instagram is like the worst when it comes to false information, pretending like it's legit. Maybe because Instagram is just like images or it's very short. But
same
I'm
on
seeing,
TikTok. Same on
yeah, yeah,
TikTok.
yeah.
People are credit repair specialists, whatever they call themselves, are wanting to pitch what's going to get the views. So there's just so much garbage out there. There's so much misinformation out there that one of the things myself and Joel battle a lot are people coming to us not asking about the credit repair process, but saying, I need this deleted, I need that deleted.
Yeah,
And that's not how credit repair works.
yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
are at really the mercy of the credit bureaus. It is ultimately up to them whether something's going to get deleted. And right now, what we're seeing, even if you're pointing out things that are inaccurate, the credit bureaus in a way don't have to delete anything. Why? Because they're not held accountable. There's no board to find them or get them in trouble for
Mm-hmm.
not deleting stuff. So a lot of you guys, as well as Joel and I, are seeing stall tactics like you wouldn't believe. It's really taking 3 to 4 rounds plus complaints to the CFPB to get something shaking and moving. So, a lot of people expect the credit repair process to be an overnight thing. They think in 1 month they should have
Yeah.
all years worth of late fees or payments, I'm sorry, late payments, charge-offs, collection accounts deleted. It doesn't work like that.
Mm-hmm.
And unless you are really wanting to go battle to battle with the credit bureaus over something that's reporting inaccurately, and it really would have to be something reporting inaccurately or in error, then there are legal rights that you have. I mean, you could really go down that road and
Mm-hmm.
pursue, get with a consumer law attorney. Joel and I both work with consumer law attorneys. We can definitely connect you with one, but you would really have to have a case that the consumer law attorneys will take on. For example, people will say, the payment history of my charge off is reporting charge off, charge off, charge off, charge off. That's not something, it doesn't, it looks ugly on the credit report, but is
Mm-hmm.
it a credit reporting violation that a consumer law attorney would take on? Not at all. I've asked.
Mm-hmm.
They just won't. So you can send letters to the credit bureaus asking them to, fix the payment history or delete it.
Yeah.
But again, we're at the mercy of them. It's you have to be persistent and aggressive, and there's just no guarantees,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah. Well, you hit it on the head with this. So, when I'm saying not to be ignorant, just in the last couple of minutes, like what you broke down, if you are somebody that you need to get your credit right and you're working with someone and 4 months, 5 months, 6 months goes by, 8 months goes by, 12 months go by, and you're still spending the what, 100 and whatever you're spending
Mm-hmm.
per month, if they're not giving you the information like Tanya is telling you right now, like how we can escalate it, right? Because we've been seeing stall letters. Matter of fact, there's videos on this channel right now where I literally scanned a TransUnion stall letter, right, and we're breaking down line by line
Hmm.
what's misinformation, what can we do to go around it. So again, guys, if you're ignorant and you're just like, all right, let me just pay somebody to take care of my problems. The downside with that is if you don't know or if you don't understand, like, okay, there is something called stall tactics. Yes, there is something called CFPB where we can go through CFPB. Yes, we can escalate even further, go to the Better Business Bureau. You mentioned it before with a lot of these attorneys, right? We have an attorney right now that it's kind of like behind the scenes, but they are giving us a list of what to look out for, things that we got to pay attention to. And if it meets certain criteria, we can go over to the attorneys and then go ahead and they can go ahead and litigate, right? You're not going to be able to participate in that if you're just kicking your feet up. You're like, I don't want to learn this. I don't want to care about any of this information. I just want to pay somebody 1,500, 2,000, whatever the amount is, and they'll just take care of it for me. Another thing too, because we're talking more about funding a little bit more. The same thing goes with, let's say your credit is okay, and you're like, all right, it's time to do a funding sequence. There are companies out there that's going to charge you 10,000, or they call it a success fee, right? So they'll charge you 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 just to apply with American Express or just to apply with one of these fintech cards like Divi. I understand everyone got like stuff to do, right? We all got careers, families, and all that stuff. But guys, if you're ignorant and you're just letting everyone just do everything for you, they're going to take advantage of you, and they know. Like these credit repair companies, these funding companies, before you work with them, before you deal with them, you got to ask questions. Ask them, what's your process? Do you do disputes? We've seen it several times where there's credit repair companies, they're not even setting disputes at all.
Nope.
They're
They.
skipping that part, right? And then they're doing like the shortcut methods. So again, if you don't know to ask, like, hey, credit repair company, how often do you send my letters? How often do you send dispute letters? If after 90 days, 120 days, if there aren't anything changing from my credit report, do you escalate, or what are some secondary methods that you attack? What do you do? Can you explain this to me? You got to ask people about specifically what they do, otherwise they're just going to get over on you. And that's
Yeah.
for credit repair as well as credit funding. You got to know what you're doing.
A good consultation, like it starts with the consultation, and with the consultation, a good company, credit repair, business credit, they're going to sit down with you and they're going to, as a result of that call, they're going to educate you a little bit on that call. And then after the call, they're going to have a blueprint, like a game plan of here's what, you know, we can dispute for you, and here's what you need to do, because it's a partnership. It's not something where a credit repair company can do it all. I mean, it's really a discussion looking at, your credit report, and you know is it better to just, I mean, I see collection accounts that have less than $50 owing, and I'm like, just pay the collection account.
Yeah.
Let's, instead of, paying me, or depending on what you have on your credit report, take my monthly fee and go knock out that $50 account, and let's take a
Exactly.
pay for delete. So, you know and a good credit repair company will tell you the debt, if it's truly yours and you have a balance and it's outstanding, if it can get deleted from the credit report, there's a chance it could get reinserted right back on the credit report. It could get
Mm-hmm.
resold and then goes to a new debt collection company, and they re-report it. It
Yep.
gets reinserted because the original creditor is able to verify and validate that it's your debt, and then the credit repair or the credit bureau had taken the account off, but now they put it right back on the credit report. So these are just things that I've noticed and Joel's noticed. Not all credit repair companies are talking to people about, and so people have this false expectation of it's going to get deleted and it's going to stay deleted,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not the case. And then you we're both seeing the shorts, the TikToks, the Instagrams, where it's illegal to report a late payment. It's illegal for a debt collector
Yeah.
to report a collection account. No, it's not.
Yeah.
It is
Those
not.
get tons of views. Tons of
They
views.
get views, and it's so misleading. We work with the consumer law attorneys. We ask these questions. That's what consumer law attorneys do for a living. They go after the debt collectors. They go after the credit bureaus that are reporting, who do have a right to report these collection accounts, these charge-off accounts. It's a matter of, is your information being reported accurately? Because you do have a right, according to the FCRA, these are their laws, to have a credit report that's 100% accurate, reporting accurate. And most of us do have mistakes in the way something's reporting on our credit report. A collection account, is reporting inconsistently across the credit bureaus. Payment history is incomplete. You are entitled to a complete credit report. So missing information can be used to dispute. But yeah, it's definitely, an informed consumer is a powerful consumer, but we don't grow up learning the ins and outs of credit. Then we
Right.
get ourselves in these jams, these credit, bad credit situations, and then we don't know what to ask for. A lot of people just hand over money to a credit repair company and they have no idea what's going on. And, Joel and I have talked behind the scenes, because even with a credit repair company, you should be asking a credit repair company. We're supposed to be licensed and bonded in our states. Now, not every state has that requirement. I'm in the state of Missouri. You don't have to be bonded. I'm insured, 7-figure insurance policy. I am, my company is registered with the state. Joel's credit repair company is like, I think you are bonded and also licensed. And we see a lot of people on different social platforms that call themselves credit repair specialists, but they are not licensed, they are not bonded, they're having you pay them through Cash App. These are big red flags. A reputable
Yeah.
company is not going to have a problem shooting over a copy of their registration, their state registration, who they're insured or bonded by. So just things that you probably aren't aware of that we want to shed light to you as we do these podcasts.
If you're somebody out there and let's say you're not sure of the process and you're paying somebody and you want that person to take care of, your credit, they're going to dispute, they're going to have your social, they're going to have your ID. If they're asking you for, like, okay, pay me through PayPal, pay me through Cash App, these guys have to be professional. Like, they got to be super professional in how they're dealing with you, how they're going to receive money, right? If they're 9 times out of 10, if they're asking to get paid through Cash App, it's probably because
Run,
well, number one, run is number
run.
two. They couldn't get a real merchant account. In order to get a merchant account, especially in the credit repair industry, your credit has to be good. Number one, I think that nullifies quite a few
Yep.
people. So your credit has to be good. They're going to check your bank's statements or whatever. There may be fees. So technically speaking, for a credit repair agency, it's expensive to operate and run a compliant credit repair company.
Yeah.
Make sure you deal with a person that, if it's not over the phone, at least like how we're doing this webcam right now through Zoom, 15 minutes, get a clarity call. I know we both have that on our website, and just ask, hey, how do y'all do it? What do y'all do? Is there things that I should not be doing? There's people that's coming to us with new collections popping up at the same
Yep.
time as they're expecting us to remove it, and it's not really fair. And these guys are not going to tell you that.
They're gonna dispute a few items at a time, not everything. I do see the credit repair companies out there, both Joel and I, that you're paying them $99 a month and they're disputing 5 items, 5 negative
They'll do
items. That could
five.
be 5 late payments on an account, and that's all they're gonna dispute for you. So just knowing, what you're getting before you get it, and you can ask the credit repair company to like recap it in writing so that you have it for your records. They shouldn't have a problem emailing over something to you, just kind of outlining. I mean, for me, it's part of my action plan for a client. Here's what I'm going to work on, but here's what you need to work on. I need you to pay down the credit cards because
Yeah.
your utilization is really hurting your credit score. I need you to open up a couple of credit cards. Here's my recommendations, because we need to be rebuilding your credit because your profile's thin, and that's another thing. You can get negative items deleted off of your credit report, and a lot of people assume if the negative items get deleted, my score should go up.
Mm-hmm.
And they're shocked when they see that their scores aren't going to go up. And that's something that Joel and I talk about to our clients, like up front. You can get negative items deleted. Your score could go up, it could go down, it may not change at all. Why? It depends on the strength, the muscles of your credit report. So a lot of people don't realize that, you know, you even if you have a credit card account, you've had a credit card account for 10 years, it's got late payments, it's kind of jacked up, you still are getting
Yeah.
credit for having a trade line that was 10 years old, even if it's not a very positive trade line. So if that's your
Mm-hmm.
only trade line on your credit report and it's like charged off and it gets deleted off the credit report, your credit score is most likely going to go down because you have nothing else. You don't have a whole lot of positive history at all. So you really need to, it's a balance, an equal balance of having enough positive aging trade lines. And, yes, you have some negative stuff, but if you get the negative items removed, you got enough positive trade lines and history going on with your credit that you won't see your scores go down. Your scores may even go up. So people don't realize that. But the two main things that impact your credit the most are your your history, and your utilization. So
No, as you were saying that, I was trying to pull up the my FICO. Can you see my screen?
yes.
So now you made a good point. So you said people who have their longest trade lines, 10 years plus, right, as late fees, you have your payment history, like
That's 35% of your
that's
score. So,
that's 35. So your history. So many people think I have a 10-year-old, trade line. I have two late payments on it from 10 years. I need to wipe out the entire trade line. Goodwill letters, like goodwill letters are so clutch, man. Like super, super clutch. If you have any account where you, for the most part, you were doing good, but maybe there was a rough spot. It's happening, and we're seeing that now. Matter of fact, I just did this is random, but let me see if I can show you this too. Because they just launched another credit card, but it's horrible. It's horrible because they're not charging you interest; they're charging you a flat fee. I think it's, to me, like potentially predatory. Like if you have a credit card and you're paying it off and you're doing the things that we're telling you to do, you're not going to get tripped up when you see this. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. I'm not going to spend too much time because I have a complete dedicated video on it. But here's a credit card where you have a $10 monthly fee for $1,000 credit limit. Or if you had a credit card that had a $2,000 credit limit, they're going to charge you $20 a month. That's $240 annually. $240. That's the same price as the Amex Gold, which is, in my opinion, like the best card on the market. So the whole point of me even talking about this is if you just are like, everybody else is just going to think for me, and I'm just going to walk this world just ignorant, deaf, dumb, and blind. These people, right, TD, they're going to come out with credit cards like this, and you're going to be like, okay, well, monthly fee, I don't pay interest. Not realizing that you're paying hundreds of dollars more than you need to just because you were ignorant, just because you didn't understand when a credit card charges you interest, when it doesn't. So this is what I mean, and this is the reason why we even did this particular video. The finance industry, the credit repair industry, the funding industry is a huge industry. Billions of dollars are being made off of these little fees, late fees, interest. If you're carrying a balance, like if we don't learn this, we're going to keep overpaying and we're just going to be digging ourselves a big hole. So that was random. That was just a side thing. But when you were talking, I'm like, no, this is a perfect example. Horrible accounts, but
not, yeah, not understanding what you're getting into when you sign up for certain things. I would never get a credit card that is having me pay just to have it $20 a month.
just to have it, no,
Yeah,
no
that's
sign up bonuses, no reward points, right? Nothing. You're just to not pay interest. They're going to find another fee that's going to make them more money and the
And that's just where
consumer.
you have to really read in between the lines because not all credit cards come right out and list those things. Sometimes it's embedded in the agreement. You just have to really do your due diligence and your research online because I've seen that with some credit cards, and then people don't realize, like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize, it was this not so good of a card.
Yeah.
So But yeah, you see that 35% of your payment history. So you just have to be really careful in what you are wanting to get deleted on a credit report, because you could get something deleted that really you should have left alone. Or maybe, like Joel said, if you have an account with one or two late payments, write a goodwill letter or a goodwill email to the company, get the CEO's email and send it off, because you don't want that account deleted just because it's got a couple late payments, because that account is carrying so much payment history that you get,
Yeah.
if the account gets deleted, you're losing points because you've now deleted a trade line with payment history. And once an account gets deleted off your credit report, especially if it's already a closed account, it's not going to get put back on. And
Yeah.
it's a closed account, it's done. You would have to reach out to the original creditor, who's most likely not going to respond to you, or not going to put the account back on the credit report. And we've seen that happen. So you have to be really careful and know what you're doing when you are repairing your credit.
Yeah.
And that's where you should, if you're not comfortable doing it on your own, seeking out a credit repair company to help you. But you just have to do your due diligence with making sure you are working with I'm going to say a real credit repair company, and one that, you know, is, set up to be a credit repair company and knows what they're doing.
Yeah. You got it. You got it. Just if you're able to get on the phone with them, not all of them are able to. I understand that, but even the email, like if it feels like you're just a number, find somebody else. Find somebody that can actually tell you something that's specific to your specific situation, and they're not just telling you something generic. Like if they're not there to help you, it's going to be very clear. You're going to find that very fast too.
Cheaper is not always better. And what I've
Yeah.
had with some clients, I've had to turn away because they've gone to so many different people who have tried disputing their credit, but these people were not credit repair companies, because I asked them, who did you work with last? And I get the list of names, I look these people up. I'm like,
Yeah.
they don't have a website. You cashed out them $250 for 6 months of credit repair. Like, ugh, you know. And I say this because there is such a thing as disputing an account too much. And one of the other reasons accounts don't move when you're trying to get them disputed with the credit bureaus is because you've had so many other credit repair companies or people trying to dispute that same account, that on the back end, the credit repair company or the credit bureau has marked that account as frivolous. And so
Yeah.
they're just not going to do anything no matter how many letters you send in. So there's
Hmm.
definitely a tactic to credit repair. It's a blueprint. Everybody's blueprint is going to be different, because no two credit um, reports look the same. So
Yeah.
that's where Joel and I go in on the back end, and we strategize, and okay, going to do one or two rounds this way. Third round, going to send out a complaint, a CFPB complaint. Fourth, fifth round, going to do it this way. So
Even when people are trying to remove hard inquiries, you got to walk the fine line, because
mhm,
if you're continually going to the credit bureaus and saying, this inquiry is not mine, this inquiry is not mine, this account is not mine, this inquiry, there are things called like fraud alerts. There are
mhm,
certain codes that the credit bureaus will put on your
mhm,
credit report, right? These
mhm,
are the same type of flags that when you try to do an application later on, maybe
mhm,
3 months from now, if you just have a whole bunch of, this is not mine, this is not mine, this is not mine, and you're not getting approvals that you want, and you're not getting the type of limits that you want, Sage Stream, Innovis, there's so many secondary bureaus. We'll pull up a report and we're like, dang, how did they get that information on me? Where did this come from? Or this was an address from way back in the day, or this, like, how are these secondary bureaus collecting my information? If you're continually putting BS on your application, or you're hiring people, right? Like I said on number one, you're hiring people that don't have your best interest at heart, and they're putting craps on on the applications, when
mhm,
they're doing false police reports and
mhm,
claiming everything on your account is negative.
mhm,
You're making it 10 times harder for yourself for when it's time for you to actually get credit card products. Your credit
yeah.
profile is going to be so jacked up, it's not even funny.
Mhm.
Stop with that, because it's killing your fundability.
Yeah, because Joel and I have a database of lenders, so we know what the lenders are looking for. We know the data points they're looking for. We know their requirements. We know what's going to get you. We can look at your credit report profile and know if, without having to do any type of soft pull, um, whether you're going to qualify for any of the lenders in our database. You know, or what it's going to take for you to qualify, because lender requirements, banking requirements are tightening up. It is getting harder to get these loans, to get these credit cards. Not all, funding hits all three credit bureaus. Some funding will only pull from TransUnion. Some funding will only pull from Equifax. So we know these plays on the back end.
Yeah. Let me put the game volume all the way down. 20 points. Blown out by 20 points, man. I'm hurt. I'm really hurt
Those are
right now.
always, yeah, yeah.
I'm really hurt. 20. They're on a 24-3 run
Wow.
in
How
the
far
third
in are
quarter.
they in the game?
This is the third quarter. Like,
Oh, they need a miracle. It's looking like it, yeah.
all right. Anyway, I was talking to a client. I told her to start carrying balances, like just a small balance. And then she did it. At first, she was like, "No, I don't want to because like how we all grew up. All debt is bad. Just keep all the cards paid off and all that."
Yeah.
I'm just like, "No, go ahead and just some of these cards, you got to put some sort of usage on it, and you got to keep at least a little bit of a balance sometimes, right? Just a little bit." So I think when she did it, the scores dropped a little bit, and she started to freak out. But then they ended up bouncing back. I think she got like a 7 or 9 point boost on all three of the bureaus.
Yeah, you gotta give
So
the something has to be reporting. If you pay those cards off to a zero balance, we see oftentimes where clients' credit score will go down because now there's nothing reporting. So it's good to have like even a tank of gas, monthly tank of gas or
yeah.
cable bill, something so that it gives the credit card a reason to report to the credit bureau, and the credit bureau a reason to reward you for credit.
Well,
Funny game, but it's all it's how you have to play it.
oh yeah, it's how you play it. American Express, I think FNBO, and there's a few other banks that they're not playing. They'll slash your credit limit, and they won't send you a letter. They won't give you notice. So that's another reason why I'm like, protect your credit limits. Like if you've been doing 2-3 years of hard work and you got like an Amex card, you're proud of it. You got a Chase card, Bank of America card. I know another girl, she had a Bank of America card. That was her. I forget which card it was, but I know that was her largest credit card. But she just stopped using it. Just stopped using it. I think she started to use Chase as well as I forget the other cards, but that Bank of America because that was her first card,
Right.
and she probably got better cards as the years went on. But they didn't even cancel her limit. They closed her entire account, Bank of
Wow.
America account.
Mhm.
Like if you come to this credit repair company with like a tangible goal, right? They should be able to give you, okay, here's what you should do for this particular problem, for this particular goal. Here's what we're going to attack. While we're attacking it from this angle, and we're doing our disputes and all this, here's what I need for you to do on your end, right?
Mhm.
Maybe that is get a couple of installment loans. Maybe that is getting one of the Magnum loans from like a Credit Strong, or maybe doing a Navy Federal pledge loan play, right? Depending on what your end goal is, it's not going to be like the instruction, the recipe is not going to be just the same for everybody because
Right.
everybody's trying to do something completely different. There's no way around it. You're not going to get quality funding if you don't have certain criteria that needs to be met. You got to
Mhm.
have at least, before it was like 660, 680, you could have like a mid 600 if it was like a strong credit profile. You're fine. Everything's tightening up. Banks are tightening up their
Mhm.
guidelines. I mentioned they're slashing limits, they're slashing trade lines. You got to have at least, I want to say at least two credit cards. If it's a minimum of $5,000 limit, cool, like that's a step in. But ideally, if you can have at least two credit cards, primary trade line, not authorized users, not a Macy's card, not none of these other things, like a legitimate Bank of America, U.S. Bank, Chase, Citi, Barclays, like a major institution. Try to get a card like that has at least 10K. That way, when you have at least two 10K cards and
Mhm.
you start to actually look at other banks, they're going to do like for like. So if all of your accounts are just very small, very baby, there's nothing there to them, guess what you're going to get from the other bank? Same thing you already had, right? This is the main reason why I'm like everybody go to Navy Federal because they're known for giving more generous limits. Now they are being more conservative now, but they are able to give you higher limits. And if you're able to get that first high limit, it's a lot easier to get your second limit. Then you can start to do the business plays, right? But you got to have the personal 700 score and above. You got to have at least a couple of cards, ideally 10K and above. Even if you only have 5K, you can start. You can start, but it's not going to be the best. You want to have less than 3 hard inquiries over the last few months, depending on whatever credit bureau that's going to be pulled. So, for example, if you're looking at like Chase, for example, Chase is known for being very sensitive when it comes to hard inquiries, right? They typically pull experience. So if you know that you're sitting on 7 inquiries in the last 6 months, don't go to Chase. Matter of fact, don't go to a lot of the major banks. You can probably get away with some smaller regional credit unions or regional banks, but at that point, that's the time for you to be in your gardening phase where you're not actively applying. No more applications. You're letting the accounts that you already open, you're letting that season. You may be doing some credit limit increases at the same time. You're opening up accounts with other banks to kind of warm up that relationship, and then you go ahead and you do your application. But people are doing that wrong. They got a whole bunch of inquiries, a whole bunch of collections. If your cards are 60, 70, 80% utilization and you're looking for more funding, that's a no-go off rip. That's automatic no-go. So utilization has to be under, the inquiries have to be under. You got to have the proper accounts. Credit builder accounts are good, but you can't just rely on credit builder accounts to get you to where you want to be with the bank, to try to get a business line of credit, try to get a PLOC or BLOC unsecured card. They're not looking at it like that. If you're working with somebody that's not telling you this, like before you get started, during the process, and even at the end, like you want to work with someone that's going to tell you, hey, we've done 8 months, we've done the disputes, we've contacted the attorney, even the attorney looked at this, and there's nothing right now that we can actually like sue for or litigate on. All right, instead of me charging you $100 for the next 12 months, knowing damn well nothing's really going to change at this point, okay, do a few paid deletes. Here's how we should settle, because we can't just be in this, oh, I'm with credit repair company for 2 years. Like, how are you with a credit repair company for 2 years? At some point, there's got to be a deadline where you've got to pay this stuff off. If it's not working off the letters, handle your debt so you can get to the next part.
And what a lot of people don't realize is after you've disputed an account for about 4 rounds, if it hasn't shaken, if it hasn't moved off, it's probably not going to. And I'm talking about just like a collection account, I'm not, or a charge off account. I'm not talking about like bankruptcies, which they can take a bit longer to get off a credit report. But just for, your collection accounts, charge off accounts, if you've had 4 months, 5 months of disputing on it and nothing, again, that's where the credit bureau might have on the back end said, you know what, you're disputing the same account, same thing, same reasons, frivolous, we're not going to do anything else. And so you want to turn to a different tactic, file a CFPB complaint. And so, because at some point, and I tell clients, by about round 3 or 4, if you have gotten back notification, they verified it, they validated it, they're able to provide a statement that shows, the billing statement, the billing history, chances are this this is your account and it's not probably going to get shaken off. And so if you can settle it, do a pay for delete, it's getting tougher. Everybody's trying to fix their credit right now. The credit bureaus are seeing and hearing all sorts of, they're getting the template letters, they're getting the it's not mine, they're getting the fraudulent types of credit repair tactics that some people are doing, and they're doing nothing round 1, sending a stall tactic round 2, round 3, crickets again. And then people don't realize, like, at some point you got to stop doing the letters and you got to go, okay, do I get with a consumer law attorney? Do I file a CFPB complaint? Do I take care of this, or do I just do nothing? So like the whole funding realm has changed. The banks are tightening up, the lenders are tightening up, the credit bureaus, the debt collectors, they're tightening up too, with their responses or lack of responses, or just not, they're not moving as fast as we'd like them to move. So
I'll say this. Like, if you want to take 6 months, 8 months to do like your dispute letter, and then you're doing it by yourself, and you know what you're sending out. You
Yeah.
know if there's something incorrect, and you want to be like stubborn, but you want to stick with it for a long period of time. That I'm okay with under the circumstance of the goal that you're trying to do. Like if your goal is I need to buy a home by the fall,
Yeah.
no, continuing to just to send out letter every month for the next 8 months, hoping and praying. That's not a legit game plan. And anyone that tells you that, they don't have your best interest at heart, because they will tell you after the third or fourth month, if we're not able to get this to shake, and you have a deadline that you need the funding or you need this loan by September, and they're not giving you other means. Again, it's not sexy like to say pay for delete, or like
Mhm.
people don't like want to hear that. They want to hear I sent out a letter, there was an immediate 80-point jump, 15 things fell off. Those things happen. Those things happen. And there are people that we've done stuff with month two.
Mhm.
I've seen drastic things
Oh
come
yeah.
on. And there's people like 6 months, 7 months.
Mhm.
Then it happens. So if you're doing it yourself and you're patient and it meets your timelines, be patient as long as you're sending the letters out and it's actually legit. Do it. What I'm saying is don't hire somebody to do it for you, and every year you're spending what 1,200, 1,400 a
Yeah.
year, like, and then what? And
Yeah.
then you wasted 2 years. You wasted what $2,500 plus.
Yeah.
Like that money could have gone
Could have paid
towards
off
your
the
down
debt.
payment. Could have paid down the debt.
Yep.
It could have been the earnest money for your home.
If
You
it
know, so
sounds too good to be true, it's true. If they say they can guarantee something within, 30, 60, 90 days, we know as credit repair agencies that you cannot use the word guarantee. You just cannot get the business shut down if you are legally registered and set up as a credit repair agency and then
yeah,
you're promising or doing guarantees or advertising guarantees. That's just a huge no-no. And it's a partnership. You have to be involved in your credit repair process. No one cares more about your credit than you, so you have to be willing to invest a little bit of your time and be willing to do your part with credit repair.
yeah,
Don't leave it 100% up to a credit repair agency. Also, they should not have a problem giving you the letters that they're sending out. I give the letters that I send out to clients because I need them to know what I'm saying and disputing on their behalf. So they get a copy of the letters. I don't want any
hmm
surprises. Um,
hmm
I don't quote law because you as a consumer, you're not going to quote law when you send out your letters. And if you start quoting law, a lot of law, any law, the credit bureau shut that down. They just kind of that gives them a reason to send a stall tactic letter. Whoa, we
yeah,
think you are a credit repair or a third party, or you're working with one. And guess what? You
hmm
have the right to work with one. That's why we call these letters stall tactic letters.
yeah.
Shut the door on this dog. It's good. I do too. I do too. So the purpose of this first podcast video is to give just a high level overview. I know we covered a lot of tips and information in this video, but this is information that we will be breaking down in detail as we do these weekly podcasts, and we'll take it in bite-sized pieces and um, have a topic and provide a few pointers with that topic, because it is, an informed consumer is a powerful consumer, and we want you to be educated in the process of your credit and what your end goal is. We want to see you reach your end goal, but for you to reach your end goal, you got to understand what the requirements are with lenders so that you know what needs to be done on the personal profile, whether it's you want to start a business, you want to get business credit, business funding, you want to buy a house, you want to get some major trade line, you know, you want
Yeah.
credit cards. So,
Mhm. Yeah, there's a lot of exciting stuff. We've been on a few calls, few mentorship calls, where we're seeing the end of the rainbow. Like what's possible when you actually do all this stuff, like all the boring stuff once that's out the way. Like I was aware of it, but
mhm,
certain plays that are out there is just these are things that could literally change your life, change your family's life if you have it just set up properly. Like that's what it is. So on this channel, like I'm going to continue to just do like a spectrum of all right, credit builder, fundamentals. Then I'm gonna do some bank data points. So we're going to be kind of all over the place. But I want to use this podcast as like how you said, like this is going to be like a long term thing where you're not going to get it overnight, especially if you're new. Like I've been in real estate for probably what close to a decade. Been doing credit repair for what, close to 3 years now, 2.5, 3 years. Um, I'm still learning things every single day.
Because there's new things coming out every single day, and
Every
there's
single day.
changes. The changes are constant, and so Joel and I are having to keep up with changes that are happening. We know what's happening in the credit repair industry. We know what's happening with the lenders and the banks that you, the consumer, may not be aware of. There's just a lot of moving parts, and as we you know go through this next year, there'll probably be I mean, if you haven't already heard, some of the major credit repair companies are being sued. There's one very large, popular one that, depending on the outcome of that, that could change a lot in the credit repair industry.
Yeah.
You've got banks collapsing, you got a lot going on.
Yeah.
And it's a time where people are, times are kind of tough right now. They're kind of tight for a lot of people. But we want to see you win. We want to see you success. Your success is our success. And I mean, as much as I don't like to say it, I hear people, I had someone tell me the other day, cash is king. And I was like, that's great and all, but most of us don't have, $1 million sitting in the bank.
Yeah.
So, but, we can, if we structure our credit right, our personal credit,
Mm-hmm.
and use that as a foundation to get over to, for example, business credit. And we could have 6 7 figures in business credit funding. And I don't know about you, but I would rather you hear about have the $1,000 emergency fund. It's important to have the $1,000 cash emergency
Yeah.
fund. Well, you know what, I would rather have $100,000 in credit
Mm-hmm.
lines of credit,
Mm-hmm.
emergency type funds versus $1,000 in actual cash, because I can do more with $100,000 in funding than I can with $1,000 in cash. And I think you were the one telling me, Joel, you had a client that you're working with that has had to tap into her business credit, the credit lines that she has for
Mm-hmm.
something that's come up, that she does not have the actual, doesn't have all that in her bank, but she's got the line of credit right here for her
Mm-hmm.
business, so she's able to tap into that. So guys, that's why it's so important to,
Mm-hmm.
it starts with the credit profile and just the health of your credit and getting that credit into shape, getting it into health. And it may take a year for some of you. Some of you may take a few months, some it may take a year, but
Mm-hmm.
don't wait till the last minute. Don't wait till the last minute to start fixing what took years to get to the point where it became bad credit. Because it's not, Rome was not built overnight, and your credit, it most likely won't get repaired and fixed in 1 month. It takes time.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be patient and trust the process. So, and
Yeah. No, I like that. And then I'll end it on this. Most of the people on this channel, have you read Rich Dad Poor Dad? Like
I have.
the Okay,
Mhm.
that was like entrepreneurship 101 for
Yes.
me. I think
Yeah.
I might have been in high school when I read that.
Mhm.
That's one of the books. And again, if you're watching this video and you haven't read Rich Dad Poor Dad, that should be required reading.
Yep.
There's a concept that he talks about. He didn't invent it. It's everyone talks about it, but OPM, which is other people's money.
Mhm.
Um, it's one thing to say, okay, I'm just going to save every penny, I'm going to save every nickel, and I'm going to
Mhm.
use this as a little nest egg or savings account just for a rainy day. Or if I wanted to buy a house, maybe I can save up, for 10 years. And like, that's not realistic.
Right.
The people that are out there that are doing incredible things with their finances and their
Mhm.
businesses, they leveraged other people's money to go ahead and do it. I
Yeah.
know, right? I know a guy right now, he's in crypto. His risk tolerance is way different than mine because I wouldn't have done it. But
Right.
he used other people's money to put himself in a position
Mhm.
to acquire not only Bitcoin, because he timed it pretty well, but he put himself in a position that when the altcoin market, or however you want to call it, once that bounces back,
Yeah.
he's probably going to be set for life.
Wow.
Just because I know the amount that he put in when he put it in. Like it
Mhm.
may take 2 3 4 years for the markets to kind of go back to where they were a couple
Mhm.
of years ago. But when that happens, he's
That.
set. But
Mhm.
here's the thing, like on Instagram, social media, people are showing you the very end. They're showing you the lifestyle of you know, I got 12, 20 credit cards, and each card has a limit of 20 to 30 to 40,
Mhm.
50,000. You see people doing churro plays, they're doing uh, wholesaling, they're doing a whole bunch of stuff, which is cool.
Yeah.
But don't let people lie to you or take advantage of you or give you like a couple good gems mixed with a whole bunch of like bull crap, feed
Right.
it to you thinking that, oh, I can be like them. Like the whole goal of I can get six figures or 150 in a sequence, that's 1000% legitimate. You're not going to get that if you don't handle the stuff that we're talking about now. You're just not. And I don't want to keep making this YouTube channel just only about like credit builder, credit builder, credit builder. Like there's a place and there's a time for that where we're just actually just breaking down banks. How can we get in? What can we get out of them? Who are they going to pull? Like we're going to start providing all of that so that the people that are watching can just watch, pull the trigger, and then start winning. But I can't let the people that are still on ground zero just feel like they were left alone, right? So we're going to have a whole spectrum. And again, guys, go into the description. I'm going to put Tanya's information. She has a whole bunch of academy, DIY resources. She can provide clarity calls, but continue to go down in the comments, ask questions. If there's a subject matter that you see on social media and you're looking at, oh, this was one thing that I loved. One of the clients I was working with, she was like, I was on, what did she say? I was on Instagram.
Mhm.
I was listening to this person do a breakdown of whatever it was, but she was like, that doesn't sound like something that you and I discuss
Mm.
because she's a coaching client. So I'm telling her what to look
Mhm.
for, what not to look for, things that they,
Right.
but she's already subscribed to like other gurus and stuff like that too. But then she stopped and she was like, that doesn't sound like what we've been discussing. And I was
Right.
super proud because it
Mhm.
wasn't like I told her that was a bad thing. It was just she kind of tuned herself. She grounded herself in the things that she know is working.
Mhm.
So when she heard a guru on Instagram say something that was contradictory, a red flag came up and she was like, nah, let me just throw that by Joe first. Maybe that is legit. Let me throw it by Joel. Let's see what he says. Right.
Right.
So I was super proud of her for that. But that's the main thing. Just, I don't care if you're brand new, just get into this, learn, get on clarity calls, get on some of our academies, however you need to just align yourself with what you ever got to do, but you can get to the end goal without having to get screwed over in the process. That's basically the main goal. So we're going to do that on the channel. This call probably by the time I edit it, it's probably gonna be like an hour or some change. I think that's perfect because I don't think there's another long form, hour long, podcast or whatever you want to call it
Mhm.
that's willing to really deep dive into credit. And I think that's what we can do with what
Yeah.
we're doing right now. So that's what I'm super excited for. And you're still going to do the shorts. You're still going to do the short videos.
Mhm.
But guys, if you need long form, if you need somebody that's not just going to BS you with one image of a photoshopped approval, like if you want someone to really just go in, like deep dive, like this is the right channel for it. So that's all I got. I mean, like, subscribe, comment, follow Tanya, check the link below. That's all I got. Tanya, you got any last words for the
Don't be
people?
afraid to ask questions. So when you see this video, if you have questions, put them in the comments below so that we can get back to you. Because that's how you're going to learn is by asking questions.
All right, that's it, guys. So now that we're ending, I'm gonna finish watching the Sixers get they.
Okay.
I'm watching the Sixers currently right now. We're down by 20. Oh no,
Wow.
we're down by 25.
Oh no.
Yeah, so this whole time I was recording, I'm seeing I have a monitor that has the
Right,
game.
right. Oh man, that sucks.
All right, well,
All right.
that's it. All right.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll do it again next weekend.
All right, next week, guys.